of a clan of medieval warriors awoken in modern-day Manhattan, of the animated series that told their story.
It is an age of darkness. Superstition and the sword rule. It is an age of fear. It is the age of gargoyles.
Welcome to Voices from the Eyrie, a Gargoyles podcast.
This is Night Watch, reporting from New York,
Travis Marshall. Tonight, more on the news that has rocked Manhattan, if not the world.
And welcome back, Gargoyles fans, to our news and first impressions section of Voices from the Eyrie. And here we are to talk about Demona, Better Angels, Chapter 4, Fallen from the Ranks. And wow. Jen, what did you think of this one?
This was a good one. I really liked this one. I really liked the story setup. I loved seeing Tom. I loved that it being pointed out that Demona is afraid of being alone. But I loved that so much.
Yeah.
It was good.
I love that too. One of my first impressions, and it ties in with issue 3. We didn't go into that in issue 3 because, again, that was first impressions. But, you know, Angelica's a Brooklyn in issue 1, then she's a teen in issue 2. She's kind of doing the hero worship for Demona. In issue 3, she's an adult. She's kind of gaining a mind of her own, opinions of her own. And in this one, I believe she's more or less Hudson's age, and she may be Demona's daughter, but she's an adult right now. She's making her own decisions, and she's going to do what she thinks is right and won't do what she thinks is wrong. I appreciate it. I love watching the relationship between these two unfold over the course of this miniseries, and I have a feeling the next issue is going to be heartbreaking.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely leading up to that. I love Demona sweet talking the old man. That was great.
I love a reminder that she's more than capable of that. She isn't just brute force with a bazooka or a sword all the time, or a mace.
She was just it was just nice. Like, she's just like, oh, look, I'm just gonna be charming.
I could totally hear Marina doing that too.
I really enjoyed that, and I loved it when her and Tom were in the jail together, and like, he's like, you, and then he has to like walk it back.
My thoughts on that are different. I think he would have been prepared to invite her to Avalon because she was the mother of those eggs until she scared the absolute shit out of him.
Yeah.
And also, let's be honest, good thing it didn't go that route, because if he did that, the moment she laid eyes on Catherine and the Magus, all hell would have broken loose.
And I loved her twisting the bars, like, yeah, I'm here, but only, because my daughter said to play nice.
Here's a panel from the comic that I love. There's just so much motion here with Demona drawing her sword when she's accused of the murder. And to be fair, when I read the solicit, my first thoughts were, Demona's totally the killer, isn't she? And, didn't go in that direction.
The way I was looking at it was, just like she said, like, I would, like, she can take on that old man. Like, there was no reason to play nice. So.
Yep. Exactly. And Scheherazade is always fun.
Always fun. Absolutely. And she was loving the story too.
Nice.
And I love that shot of Avalon with the boat heading back to Avalon, and you see, that one. That was nice. I love that shot.
Me too. Frank and Robbie continue to outdo themselves.
Look good.
I thought it was nice seeing Angela for a bit.
Oh my gosh, that was just like a squee moment.
Yeah. Little Angela.
Little tiny Angela. The eggs.
Already sort of,
Egg.
off on her own from the castle because she is an adventurer, even at biological age 3 or 4, whatever she is there. She's like, "What are you doing out here alone?"
Toddler Angela, or Hatchling or Rookling, whatever the difference in the terminology is.
Don't you know how dangerous this beach can be?
Yeah. That is a dangerous beast. That is
Love it. But no, very good issue. Greg, do you have any other thoughts on it?
Well, I mean, there are a lot of fun things when we do our deep dive, but I do love. I mean, first off, Frank and Robbie as a team are just so fantastic. I mean, even the first page of this, those shots of this great cityscape, right? But then these shots of Damona and Angelica are just so good. And
the lighting on that whole page is awesome.
And then I do really like, this sort of, we saw Magni and Angelica together as teenagers, and here they are, in essence, in the equivalent of being in their, late 50s or something like that. I mean, I've done the math, but I don't remember it. It's been a while.
They're about Hudson's age right now. I did the math also.
So, seeing them together in the, at this later stage of life is just sort of lovely to me. I just sort of love how Frank captured it without trying to make them look young. It still
almost gives me hope for me.
And then, there are moments like she agrees to surrender for Angelica's sake, right? And Alexios is like, "Don't apologize, take her sword." So she hands over the sword like, as if I need the sword.
Yeah, I love that. It's like,
so that to me, just the expression Frank puts on her face when she does hand over the sword, just, that just makes me happy.
I love it.
So there's just a lot of, I mean, I'm always sort of fond of my own scripts. It's embarrassing, really. But what I love about this issue is just the great character work that Frank is doing, and the great color work that Robbie's doing. Because Modi is really interesting in this to me, and Sherazade and Tom and the whole cast is just you get, because it's a mystery story, right? So it's really all about character. So all this facial expression that Frank is doing, and the tone that Robbie sets with the colors throughout, it's just gorgeous stuff to me. And again, that last page where we get to see baby Angela or toddler Angela or whatever, and then Damona flying away with Angelica and Magni. It's just kind of some lovely stuff there.
I absolutely love Magni and Modi's character design so much.
Yeah.
Me too.
And I describe them, but really it's one thing, to write a couple sentences on a page, but it's, Frank and Robbie who really brought them to life here. I take, visually, all the credit goes to them. It's pretty great. Same with Scott Skate a couple issues ago.
Yeah.
The 2 Gollum gargoyles that Frank created, and those descriptions come right out of the Clark Ashton Smith story. I just lifted the descriptions from that story and put them in my script. But again, it's one thing to write that down in prose, but wow, did they make those two golems look fantastic?
Yeah, that was good. That was so good.
And I'm looking over the last few days at the art from issue 5, and it's just stellar. It's just fantastic. We're definitely going out big, but I hope people have been picking up the series and enjoying it, because I just think this is some really great stuff from Frank and Rob.
It's excellent work. It's terrific.
Really, really loving it.
Everything's firing on all cylinders in this, and it was great. And I know we have next we're gonna have Gargoyles Fantastic Four, then Demona 5, then the Winter Special 2025, and then Gargoyles and Darkwing. But I'm also looking forward to when the next canon story gets announced. So I know a lot of fans are chomping.
Well, the Winter Specials is canon. The Winter Specials, canon.
Following that.
But yeah, I'm working on that now, so it's coming, definitely. I think the fans will be very excited. It's too early to talk about, but I think the fans will be very excited by what we have planned for the next run, which follows the Darkwing 4-issue miniseries. But I think in the meantime, it's not like you got nothing. There's some between Fantastic Four and the Winter Special and the end of Demona and Darkwing. There's a lot of fun stuff.
Totally.
To hold you over until we get to that next arc. So,
all right. Well, I want to thank our fans for tuning in, and keep listening, because we've got another episode deep dive coming right up.
This has been Night Watch. Sleep well.
Welcome back, Gargoyles fans, to another episode of Voices from the Eyrie, a Gargoyles podcast. I'm your co-host, Greg Bashansky, and joining me is my partner in crime, my co-host, Jennifer L. Anderson.
Hello, everyone.
How are you today, Jen?
I'm hanging in there.
She's playing in pain. She is playing in pain.
So much pain.
Well, I hope the person on the losing end of that fight came out much worse.
Getting old sucks, guys.
And also joining us is the creator of Gargoyles, Mr. Greg Wiseman.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, and how are you today, Greg?
I'm in great shape. I'm physically at my peak, which is a very sad thing to say. No, I'm fine. I'm good. All good.
The world tour is finally over. We're back in New York City. We're back in Manhattan, finally. And this is a two-parter. And Greg, I believe you've mentioned in the past this one was a bit of a trip to produce. Like, it started as a one-parter, became a two-parter.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it did start as a one-parter. Reckoning was going to be a two-parter, and this was going to be a one-parter. And we looked at it and just decided that no, we needed to flip those. And so this became a two-parter. I watched it last night. I thought it turned out pretty great, actually. I mean, there were little things, but in general, I was pretty happy with it.
I think it came out great, and we're going to be talking about that. The original title, I believe, was Reunions.
Yeah, I only know that because I guess I wrote that down somewhere at some point, but I don't remember.
But you don't recall it, like, actually in real time.
No, I don't recall it. It just it's hard to imagine it being anything but the Gathering. Although I get why, because the actual Gathering is like a prologue, and then everything else happens afterwards. But I think metaphorically, we gather in Manhattan. The Xantos family's gathering in the Eyrie building, including Fox's mother, which brings in Fox's mother's first husband, and so there's all sorts of gathering going on. So it definitely feels like the right title. But I do get that, at the beginning of this thing is the actual gathering, and then we sort of leave that behind on Avalon and go to Manhattan.
The first time I watched this, as I recall, at a certain point in the episode, my jaw dropped and it just never got up off the floor. And this is coming right after Future Tense. Jen, do you remember your first time watching this one?
Um, I, yes, and but like I don't recall like any specific thing that like
Yeah,
that
like what
really,
made your jaw drop, Greg?
yeah, what
Again, like we said, I went by Moonlight because I'm dumb. I did not pick up on who
oh
Anastasia Renard
okay.
really is, so that was
Yeah.
one.
I I loved that reveal. I love how that was done.
Yeah, it's a great moment when he sort of
Just
blows
blows away the illusion.
and she gets a little thrill out of it, like dropping the Anastasia illusion is sort of, well, I'll just say it's sexually charged, I think. And that was very cool. I did wonder, at the time, now, of course, it seems pretty obvious, but I did wonder at the time, again, because we double cast all the time. I don't think anyone's sort of going to look at Taurus and go, is someone going to blow on him and it'll turn out to be Coldstone? So the fact that we had used Kate Mulgrew as both Anastasia and Titania in and of itself wasn't necessarily evidence that they were one and the same character. But yeah, I do think, there are clues planted throughout the episode when, mostly through Owen, because she mentions that she's remarried her first husband, and Owen very much freaks out in a way that we've never seen.
He never loses his cool, and he is lost all cool.
Yeah. I mean, what's fun for me is that right before that, you have this moment where Petros is meeting Preston Vogel for the first time. He's known Owen for years, of course, but he's meeting Preston Vogel for the first time. And he's like, "Are you two brothers?" And Owen's got a big grin on his face, and even that is out of character for Owen. So I thought, that came out pretty nice. Vogel gets very uncomfortable, but Owen is just smiling.
I don't know why this guy keeps dressing like me.
Doesn't even wear a bow tie. Why would you think we have anything in common?
When I wear a bow tie?
Right. Our
Not the hair color.
frames are completely different. We have different hair color. What is it about? So
I was on their related bandwagon ever since out Fox. And then at this point I was thinking, because there's so many elements in the show, okay, maybe Owen's a clone of Vogel. And again, I did not, because I'm dumb.
I mean, the show gives you a lot of options of what could be going on too. So
yeah, again, because I'm dumb, and we'll talk about the big reveal next time. But even though now, in retrospect, all the hints are really heavy, I still did not see it coming, even while watching this episode.
Yeah, and that's good. I mean, you shouldn't have. I think the big reveal from next episode, was a lot harder to get. We'd been dropping clues since the mirror. But those clues are really great in hindsight. Like you're like, oh my God, they said that here, kind of thing. But in the moment, they're not like sitting there hammering you over the head. They were subtle on purpose.
You serve the human.
Yeah.
And it's like such a Demona line. Like it's not giving anything away. Like
right. And he immediately says serving humans, plural, is fun. So it sort of distracts from the notion, wait, what human does he serve? Yeah. I mean, we were very careful to make it difficult to figure out. And yet, if you went back to go, oh, shit, it was there the whole time. And that's sort of the goal, which is you want the audience to simultaneously go, holy shit, and of course, and I think, we did that to a great extent. I think the thing with Titania and Anastasia might have been a touch easier because you had Kate doing the voice of both, but also, when Anastasia talked to Goliath before in Ill Met by Moonlight, she references something that as if they have a history together. And if you're thinking, and Goliath doesn't know of this history, so you got to kind of wonder, well, then what is she talking about? And then you put that together with the voice actor, and I think it might be a little easier to get. but we were hoping that most people would still be
I
surprised
think
by it.
the fact that we have both Odin and Petros in this episode, both voiced by W. Morgan Shepherd, helps throw me off the trail as well. So
Yeah, and we have, Princess Catherine and the Weird Sisters. I counted up. We had
19. I counted too. 19 voice actors in this.
I counted 18, even with Kath getting 2 payments.
Because Laura was uncredited.
Oh, right. Right.
Fix it. Fix your notes.
But yeah, I think this one has the biggest voice cast out of any episode of the series.
It's got to be close. Although I do recall that it's not canon anymore, but when we did The Journey, which was the last voice recording I went to before I was summarily dismissed.
We'll talk about that eventually.
That had a massive cast, like really massive, because it was sort of my swan song, and I kind of knew it, so I just put everybody in.
Bring everybody in.
Yeah, I wanted to say goodbye to everyone. So
reunion.
I put as many people in as I could possibly justify.
We'll definitely be talking about that eventually, but let's talk about that scene on Avalon, the gathering on Avalon. We have every single child of Oberon we've met so far, including, probably like you've said in the past, a few new Olympians. But before we talk about that, I've actually got something to share.
We didn't have any new Olympians there. It's just models. There happen to be some children of Oberon who look a lot like some new Olympians. I don't want our audience to think, oh, wait, so some of those new Olympians were children of Oberon? No. We just reused the models because we were shy of man hours. But
I'm about to share something. This is from one of Brad Rader's storyboards. I'll place it in our show notes for people to see it. And this is fun. Obviously, this is not what ended up in the actual episode, but let's take a look at who's here. We've got Raven. We've got Grandmother. We've got Anansi. There's Grumpy from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Maleficent.
That would have been great. I assume they wouldn't let us do it.
That would have been so good.
The 3 little mushroom people from is that
Fantasia?
From Fantasia?
Yeah,
I think so.
It is.
Yeah. And more. I mean, you know what?
And there are characters also standing on the balconies of the mezzanine, and
a Gorgon and a gargoyle.
Yeah. I love that gargoyle's design.
Me too. I hope she's somebody soon.
Everybody's somebody.
Excellent. But yes, it's a great scene, and Banshee going at it with Odin. Although I do need to point something out. I have seen some people raise eyebrows at Odin, a god, bowing to Oberon, a quote-unquote mere fairy.
Well, those are clearly people who haven't been cursed by fairies before. They're saying mere fairy.
Well, and also, we never called on the show, we never called Oberon a fairy. We didn't use terms like fairy and fae and that kind of thing. Fans have used those on occasion, and sometimes for ease in like Ask Greg and stuff like that, I've used those terms. But the fact is that we were actually careful on the show not to use those kind of things because what we were saying was Oberon, Titania, those are the supreme rulers of Avalon, and it's a feudal system, and Odin is the supreme ruler of Asgard, but Asgard is subject to Avalon, and thus Odin is subject to Oberon. And when push comes to shove, Oberon's more powerful. And again, this was the idea. One moment in the show.
That was the max for me. Like, I didn't give a crap about Odin. It was Anubis where the record screeched.
I think Anubis is more powerful than one thing in
the show that really still makes me cringe is you you've got all the characters laughing at Banshee's predicament, right? And Anubis laughs, and I'm like, no. He should have been the one guy to sort of maintain a little more dignity and a little more stoicism. But I guess that got biased and bored. And by the time came back in animation, I imagine, that would have been a creative retake because it was, I'm guessing it must have been in the board or something, but that would have cost us extra. And, we were always up against the clock. But yeah, that has bugged the shit out of me for 30 years.
As well it should.
but this is important because our feeling was, look, we were going to have an international pantheon of pantheons, right? And the idea was I wasn't going to sort of say, hey, if I'm going to put Anansi or Anubis, Raven, Coyote under Oberon, I got to put, the white gods under Oberon too, and basically, the mindset is that Shakespeare wins over everybody. And the blue god and the green goddess are the ones who rule all the other characters, white, black, Asian, Native American, whatever, so that it was, for lack of a better term, an equal opportunity offender, that we weren't sort of saying it, we were trying to, for lack of a better term, making it less colonial. And that was before I even knew those terms. It was just even back in the day, that kind of stuff meant something to me. It was important to me that we weren't just sort of saying, oh yeah, of course the white guys are in charge of all the other races. That wasn't what we wanted to do. That's why we made Oberon blue, among other things. And if anything, the fact that when he poses as a human and we made him Caucasian there, even briefly, he's only on screen as a fake human for 4 or 5 minutes tops, probably less. Even that nowadays kind of bugs me a little bit. But one thing I will say is you can't knock Terrence Mann as Oberon.
Oh my God.
First off, he watches Odin and Banshee fight. He's highly amused by it. He's got no problem with it going on until they nearly break his mirror. At which point he's like, okay, that's enough. And then they don't stop. And then
Dad said to knock it off.
Right. Then it's over. And
don't make me use the
just
dad
sort
voice.
of show how incredibly powerful it is. And of course, Odin's not in the wrong here. It was Banshee, who refused to come to the gathering and had to be dragged in. And then it was Banshee who attacked first. So he freezes both of them, but Odin is left to his own devices when that's over, whereas Banshee is, sort of silenced.
Punished.
And he's got some great lines in there where he's like, you don't have anything to say? I thought not, And those are fun lines when I'm saying them, but when you put Terrence Mann in those shoes, man, that's good stuff.
It's great stuff. Though we do have Even Star actually requested that we ask this. I was going to anyway, but I want to give Even Star a shout out. She's one of our most loyal listeners. And she wanted to know if Celine has a grudge against Puck or what. She is a weird sister of vengeance, but...
Oh, I think
she
Celine
just has a
lot of grudges.
Yeah, I was going to say, a grudge for everyone.
I think to some extent, that's her job, is having grudges. Yeah. It's fury, but it's revenge, and so anyone who may have slighted Celine, she's got a scorecard, believe me, at least in her head, if not literal. And
she's Arya Stark.
Just
repeats it over and over and over in her head all day long.
Right. But yeah, Katsusi, got a double payment for this episode because she played all three weird sisters, and we get, we pay for the first voice, second voice is $3, third voice is a tiny additional fee. But once you get to that fourth voice, Princess Catherine, who has maybe 2 lines,
Yeah.
that's a whole second
okay,
payment.
take the dog.
That's a whole second payment. Now, if she had done a fifth voice, we would have gotten the fifth voice for free, like the second voice. And a sixth voice, we would have gotten that for another small additional payment. But we only needed 4, I guess. So
could have had Ophelia.
could have. And, if I'd cared about that sort of thing in that context, I could have made sure that only 2 of the 3 weird sisters actually said anything. Although that's always a little odd. So
agreed. It was well done.
They all have their opinion.
On that note, I love that scene with the jogger, and I love Boudica being used as a bloodhound.
First of all, Boudica is just awesome. Just awesome. And I just love that character design so much. And then to have the big, like, bull mastiff kind of look in the glamours was so cool.
Yeah.
Poor
I think that the episode does a good job at the beginning of sort of setting up what we established, at least verbally, at the end of Ilmet, which is the gargoyles are now the honor guard of Avalon. So you see them flying around, you see them guarding the palace, you see them overseeing the gathering. And by this time, Oberon is familiar enough with all of them and with Boudica that when he contacts Catherine, he's like, I need your best tracker. And he doesn't say, who is it? He says, I need Boudica. He already knows that about her. And I thought, that's sort of cool. And one of the things I like about Oberon is that he's got his own interpretation of things, but he isn't petty. And we'll see that in the fight with David later in the episode. He's not shy about tossing the guy around, but he doesn't punish him for trying to keep his son. In fact, he sort of says, hey, you did a valiant job against literally impossible odds. I hope that makes you feel a little better about it. But, and he could have, certain rulers that we know would then say, you went up against me. I'm going to have the Justice Department go after you. But Oberon is just like, no, I understand why you did it. And I hope you feel better about it now. I'm still taking the kid, but, I'm not going to punish you for trying to stop me from taking your son. I get that. And I like that he's not petty. I mean, he's certainly he's certainly arrogant, although to some extent justified because he is incredibly powerful. But, and he certainly has his own interpretation about how things should work, but it doesn't extend to pettiness, Banshee earned her punishment. Odin doesn't get punished, even though he's the one that nearly broke the mirror, right? But that wasn't his fault, so he's letting it go. He's not petty about it, but he can toss out a petty line of dialogue on occasion. And that, again, that's just Terrence's.
But he thinks he's
genius.
Just being so generous.
Yeah, magnanimous. I did kind of wonder when he goes, I'll let you have an hour to be with your son. Did they go back to Avalon where an hour is, if an hour on Avalon is a day in the real world, then what's a 24th of an hour?
He went out to get New York pizza.
All I'm saying is if he went back to Avalon, to him, it's like, wow, he gave them an hour. It's like, well, if he went to Avalon, that was probably about 4 minutes, It's like,
so it wasn't testing his patience at all.
Yeah, it's not like he's sitting there going, well, I'm going to be gone for a while. Nah, not even an hour. If he went to Avalon, it's like a few minutes.
Or he went to John's to get pizza.
Maybe. Raised.
He's visiting Manhattan. Why not? But yeah, speaking of Oberon not being petty, this reminds me of a conversation I had with someone who actually, there's several fans out there who see Oberon as petty, and one of them was adamant that it was out of character for Oberon not to be jealous that Titania had children with Alcine Renard, and I'm thinking, oh, come on.
Yeah,
To me, that's assigning very human characteristics to something that is very not human.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they live hundreds of thousands of years. The fact that they sleep around some, particularly when they weren't married. I mean, one thing that for S&P purposes, we had to make sure we were really crystal clear about is that when Anastasia had Fox, she was divorced from Oberon and married to Halcyon. And that now she's divorced from Halcyon and remarried to Oberon. And for S&P purposes, we had to make that very clear. But my thought on the whole thing is that the fact that she had relationships with other people, particularly when they were broken up, that doesn't bother him. And
why would it?
Because among other things, what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Exactly.
But they have in my canon, they have kids in wedlock, the two of them, Oberon and Titania, and they each have kids outside their marriage. That's kind of the fun of it. So
hopefully we'll meet some of them soon.
Someday.
Something I don't like. I love this episode. I love almost everything in it, but that granny gown that Fox has on is even worse than the outfit she
would absolutely love to burn that to the ground. You want to talk about something that was worse than her like maternity shirt?
Yeah, it's horrible. But my again internal canon on that is that generally speaking, Fox and Xanatos sleep on natural, so she doesn't have any nightgowns. And so since her parents and his dad are coming in, she's got to put something on. And my guess is that was a gift from Halcyon. And so, all right, what the hell?
That makes sense.
I'll put that on. Dad'll like that, and he'll be in a good mood because he can get cranky.
He's much more upset about Anastasia going back to her first husband than
well, I think it's sort of heartbreaking to him,
he's still in love with her.
Yeah, he very much is still in love with her, and he knows that.
Look, I'm still in love with her too. Come on.
The main reason she left is because he was rigid, and I think there's a nice sort of arc to their relationship once you include the comics and his eventual death and their last moments together is sweet. I think he had a fear that, particularly once it was revealed who she really was, that she never felt anything for him, and that just wasn't true. She was truly in love with him, but it just, when you're immortal, you need constant stimulus. So if he is rigid and
aging,
and aging and all this stuff, at some point she's got to kind of her eyes are going to wander. And one of the things that we talked about, Michael and Bran and Gary and Carrie and I and Frank to some extent, certainly Jamie and I talked about it too, is we wanted to sort of think about what being an immortal would mean to a character, and how it affects different characters different ways. And we played that out with Macbeth and with Demona as well. But now you're talking about characters who have been around since long before Demona and Macbeth were even born. How do they deal with that? It's a fantasy thing because most of us are not immortal, but still, I think it reflects how, it's a metaphor for long life and all that sort of thing, and what that means to us. So I it's an interesting sort of problem as a writer to sort of be presented with. But yeah, it's not a great nightgown, but I found a way to justify it in my head. So
Why not? There's something else I need to point out. There's a part of me that thinks, oh, we shouldn't go there. We shouldn't go there. But I think we will. We're talking about the whole confrontation with Fox, and with the whole reveal is terrific. With where Fox finds out what her heritage is, her baby's heritage, and although there are people who use the Fox crying moments to justify how she was behaving in a certain episode of the
Here's
Goliath.
the thing. You know what would have thrilled me is if Xanatos started crying too. If David and Fox were both crying, I would have been a happy camper.
yeah, I think, she's only just given birth. So
Yeah.
you got to cut her a little slack.
Hormones going on there.
She might be a little emotional.
She also found out that her mother is not who she thought she was her entire life.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah. I mean, it's not the same as some non-canon story where her son gets kidnapped by some dumbass, corrupt mayoral candidate, but enough about Andrew Cuomo and...
That's so bad.
But yeah, there's a lot going on there. But, I just love that whole sequence, the family gathering, and the kid is, I mean, we know that kid's going to have a lot going on as an adult, as Zara pointed out when we talked about future tense, but that name, Alexander Fox Xanatos, and we can talk about it now. I always found it very telling that Xanatos and Fox named their son Alexander, and Thalog named himself Alexander.
Yeah, that was another discussion because they're like, why are we doing this twice? And I'm like, because Thalog's mindset is very similar to David's because it was programmed to have that mindset. And they're like, but isn't that going to confuse people when we've got characters with the same name? And I'm like, I don't think anyone's going to confuse Thalog with Alex. And to me, I mean, I don't do that casually, but to me, it's a fact of life that there are two Gregs on this one podcast. 2 out of 3 humans on this podcast are named Greg. And so that happens. And sometimes you can have some fun with that. But B, I think those kind of parallels can be really interesting. So, Peter Maza and Petros Xanatos, those are things that I think are kind of fun. And so, yeah, let's go for that on occasion. I do think, I love Travis Marshall's line, 20 years, this could be New York's most eligible bachelor. And then I heard that, and then I thought about what Zara said last week. And I'm like, well, I guess that's true.
Right after he reminded the audience that Xanatos and Fox are both ex-convicts.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I like is a reporter who actually, isn't afraid to tell the truth,
I hope he's still working today in 2025.
Those days.
Yeah. It just becomes that was always, and Michael, I really give Michael Reeves credit for creating Travis. And that was the idea. We'd seen in cartoons a lot of, reporters who were sort of new school. And we were like, no, let's get an older guy who's really old school journalist in there.
On the streets, Walter Cronkite kind of thing going on.
A very Ted Koppel
yeah.
kind of feel to it. Who's willing to say the tough things, ask the tough questions, hold people's, hands to the fire, so to speak. So we always sort of strove to, and I still do in the comics, to sort of make Travis, when he shows up, cut through it all and say what everyone's,
I like to think that in the early 2000s, Travis would be an occasional guest on The Daily Show with Jon Stewart. I like to think that. They both cut through the bullshit. But no, I love that moment.
That's not going to happen because Jon Stewart's The Daily Show isn't public domain, but I'm only allowed to use public domain stuff. But I'm fine that it's your headcanon.
Excellent. All right. We have another gathering going on, a gathering at a clock tower. Checking in with the Manhattan clan, the full Manhattan clan. I do like that moment where they're watching the news, and Brooklyn is, of course, true that baby's going to be big trouble. But I like that we get the return of Goliath, Elisa, Angela, and Bronx from the trio and Hudson's point of view, not Goliath and Elisa's point of view. Jen, what do you think of that choice?
No, I think that's how it had to happen. Like we knew they were going. We know that they're going to be there. So I mean, and it's very clearly Bronx, the shadow on them when he first walks in. But how long has Goliath and Elise been gone now? Like it's been quite a while. So
6, 7 months, I think.
yeah, so they've just having them stand in the shadow of Bronx again made me happy. And then for them to, when they realize who it is that they're looking at, really good moment. You know what I really love is that Hudson doesn't even blink at this is Goliath's daughter, where Goliath made such a stink about the children are the whole clan raised the children, and but Hudson just takes it.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. I like to think that if Hudson had been on that trip with them, he would have pulled Goliath aside and given him a light smack for saying you're not being a father of any kind right now.
Yeah, I mean, Hudson is old school gargoyle, and so of course that's his daughter. It's not like he's sitting there going, "Oh, I see the resemblance." It's not.
No,
you don't. Anything to do with biologics. He
doesn't get all worked up. It's just like that's your daughter, and all of our children, the children are still on the island.
Yeah, from Hudson's point of view, and we didn't emphasize this enough, I don't think, frankly. But Goliath, Broadway, Lexington, Brooklyn, those are all his sons, and Angela isn't. Angela, in essence, is his granddaughter, rookery granddaughter. But all the others are his sons. So yeah, I think that's a great moment. I think there are a lot of great little moments in that scene. I love that, Broadway sort of picks Elise up and whips her around, that they have this sort of special relationship.
I love
Then he gets a little embarrassed and puts her down and says,
Cagney missed you too.
Yeah. I think Cagney's fun in this episode, actually. Yeah. I think the introduction of Angela is to the trio is a lot of fun.
Another thing that like warmed my heart was them realizing that they're not the only gargoyles left.
Right.
Hudson's line is beautiful. The way that Ed Asner performed it.
We're not the last.
We're not alone. It's gorgeous. Now it's a little undercut, and we couldn't avoid this because we'd shown Griff already, and Griff must have at minimum told them a little
the
bit.
London clan.
Yeah. So, and on one level, it would have been an even cooler moment if Hudson and the trio didn't even know about the London clan. But even with that, I still think it's it still works pretty well, and obviously, Ed took that line and just
my gosh,
breaks. Just it's a wonderful moment. Broadway giving Angela chocolates from a box that he's almost finished, and then it's like,
I didn't know she was coming.
I didn't know she was coming.
The funny thing about that, them not knowing that she was coming, is that they received reports, check-ins from Diane, from Renard, from others that Goliath and Lisa were fine, that they were traveling around. So they had a tiny inkling what was happening. None of them mentioned Angela, but I assumed they already knew Angela, so it wasn't necessarily necessary to mention her.
Yeah, I think it's ambiguous whether or not they knew she existed or not before that. But I don't necessarily think
they might have known she existed, but didn't know she was going to be coming to Manhattan with them.
Right, exactly. And so, yeah, it's just a great scene. all the way around. And then there's this moment that Goliath has, which I kind of love in that scene, where he goes, Avalon has released us. And I'm like,
has it?
You're so wrong. You think you were sent to Manhattan, and so it's over. But in fact, what's over is you decided that this is going to be the last stop on the quest. It's still part of the quest, but you've decided that after this stop, we are done. We're done. And I imagine that with Hade and Turquesa in the comics, when they finally got back to Guatemala, they're thinking, okay, it's done. We're home. And it's done in the sense that they're not going to get back on that skiff. And the skiff kind of knows it, so the skiff sinks away, right? Which we saw with King Arthur back in Pendragon. But that doesn't mean it's over. It means there's some adventure in Guatemala that Hade and Turquesa had to be there for. We haven't shown that yet, but that's something to keep in mind, that Avalon didn't send them to Manhattan because, okay, you're done. Avalon sent them to Manhattan because something was going down in Manhattan that they needed to handle. And one of the things about how we handled that scene has a lot to do with what we had already done. So, Greg, you mentioned, it's all from the point of view of Hudson and the trio. Well, that's because we had shown the arrival of Goliath and Elisa Angela Bronx just an episode ago in Future Tense. And yeah, then immediately all the shit hits the fan in Future Tense and you're getting bombarded by all this crazy stuff. But, the arrival in Manhattan before they realize, well, okay, we've seen that now. So what are we going to just see it again? Only it's less dramatic because Manhattan is the way they remember it as opposed to changed. We're going to see the scene from their point of view of their return when we've seen that in a more dramatic and horrific way. No, we need to see it anew from the point of view of characters who we haven't seen this with. And even the shot, we didn't do the skiff sinking away, which would have been fun, but we had done that in Pendragon. So it just felt like we don't need to repeat things that the audience in essence already knows about.
I agree. They've already saw it. They can infer it. You don't need to spoon feed them every little bit of movement.
That was our thinking.
And I happen to agree with that thinking. Now, maybe some people need that more than others, but you know what? They can always go back or go on a wiki or something. But, still, lovely stuff, lovely moment, lovely reunion, lovely gathering. But
then we go to this beautiful scene in the rain between
Before we get there, next on my list was, I was asked Jen, what do you think of that scene with Xanatos and Owen in Owen's office?
Oh, where he's like, I knew you wouldn't let me down, and then poof, he's gone.
What I like about that is that Xanatos is actually angry for a moment at first when Owen admits that he knew who Anastasia really was, but he calms down. But that you knew she came here to steal my son, there was a lot of edge to that. Which
I think it came across that there was nothing that he could have done or said, or all he could do was prepare. So that's what he did.
Yeah, and he warned her, don't leave her alone with the kid. And
if he hadn't, she would have been like, you go take a nap, I'll take the baby.
Right.
And it would have been done.
Yeah, that kid is magic.
And we would have missed that great scene of Oberon being very amused by the fact that Fox is Titania's daughter.
So here's something that I think about. Was okay, Fox has gone her whole life and not shown any magical ability up to this point. Was she not encouraged? Was she discouraged? Was it or just didn't seem like it was innately there, so Anastasia never tried?
I think that Anastasia didn't want to complicate Fox's life. So if she had ever shown any magic, then she would have revealed it. But if the truth was she was just a human, then why complicate her life with all this stuff? Why make her feel bad for not having magical powers? it's not like Fox is sitting there going, gee, why don't I have magical powers? She's not, because as far as she knows, her mom's a scientist, right? And it's not that eventually she doesn't learn there's magic in the world. Eye of the beholder, right? But she doesn't expect herself to have any magic. And why, if you're the mom, burden your daughter with that disappointment? If, and again, I think it would have been very different if Fox had ever shown even a flare of magic, but she never did. So,
Oberon.
But, I think what we'll get to next episode is Titania may have had plans. So we'll talk about that next.
Oberon had, I almost skipped over this, so thank you for bringing it back to this. Oberon has a line to Anastasia. We discussed this, it's my law, let the woman keep her child. And I'm thinking, has she stolen human babies before? I know there's a whole changeling myth of fairies swapping their babies for babies, and I'm wondering, is that a reference to that?
Yeah. We haven't gotten to it, I guess, but we've got sort of, what do you call it, canon and training about Nimue and Morgana Le Fay and others. One of the reasons that Oberon banished all the children from Avalon and said, stop messing with the humans, is because it was all being abused. It wasn't selective. It was just like, anyone could start messing with them. And he's like, you guys have no respect for these poor mortals. Now, the truth is Oberon doesn't have a ton of respect, but in a noblesse oblige sort of sense, he's like, that's not right. Quit messing with them. And so here he sees Titania, who has a history of messing, right? That's why he
poking that dog with a stick.
Right. And then she's like, no, I'm not, there's a reason here. And he's like, all right, what's going on? And let's get rid of these illusions. Let's put all our cards on the table. What's going on? She's calling you mother. Okay, what's going on? And then, it gets explained, and he makes a judge's decision. Fox is human. It's regrettable. And he says that she's regrettably human, so we can't.
And so rules apply to her.
But the kid is one of us. So we got to take the kid, because otherwise he'll turn out like that poor mortal over in the bed. So, to him, that sounds eminently reasonable. And Xanatos is like, no, not reasonable.
The hell you
are. Well, before he attacks with the hell you are, he's going, no, don't you see, you're interfering by taking a child away from his parents. And he's like, I've made my rule. It's, to him, there's an obvious divide there.
He sees them as unfit parents from his point of view because of what they are. And I'm going to be honest about something. There are plenty of unfit parents out there in the world whose children should be removed from their presence. And I'm not, that definitely doesn't apply here to Xanatos and Fox, but out there.
For a second, you go, that doesn't apply to you, Greg. But
but I understand I get what you're saying, though, that they belong in this child belongs in a better home. Like, you're not going to be able to nurture this child as a human child. Like,
right. Yeah. What's funny is this goes back to a story I think I told about Gary Kreisel, where he's like, you can't give the baby you can't have Xanatos and Fox have a baby. They're the villains. We can't have villains raising a kid, but we can't take the kid away. No, don't do that, And when Frank and I are like, we already did it. And of course, we not only already did it, but we did this plot line where someone tries to take the kid away from the two villains, and the audience's sympathy is totally with the two villains. No one is watching the show going, yeah, I really do think Oberon should take the kid.
Nope.
They're going, no, this kid belongs with one of our two main villains in the series and his evil wife from the pack.
Ironically, I think back to the Edge where Lisa says she wouldn't want Xanatos' karma. I think this is a big hit of karma right here.
That's a good point.
All right. That scene with Goliath and Elisa in the balcony of Elisa's loft. Jen, what do you think of that scene?
We are what we are. Breaks my heart.
Yeah.
Absolutely breaks my heart.
She shushes at first.
Yep.
He's starting to say.
He's trying to say it.
And she can't even let him say it because it hurts too much. And she can't see a way through. Not then. Not yet. She loves him with all her heart. And he loves her.
And they know that about each other.
Yeah. And she can't deal. And so, again, I think we've talked about this before back on the Mirror, but I think she recognized her feelings for Goliath way before he did. But upon him recognizing it, I think he was way more willing to own up to those feelings, and she couldn't deal. And it's not like it's not complicated for him too. A human, she doesn't even have a tail. But he's past that.
Can't do the dirty tail trick without a tail.
Some of our audience won't know what that refers to, but
I think they can figure it out.
But in any event, she isn't ready. She can't deal with that. And so she actually shushes him and says, "We are what we are." And it's heartbreaking.
It hurt.
And there's definitely a moment in there because she's crying, but it's raining. And I know that we ripped that off from Jesus, my brain. Tears in the Rain. Rutger Hauer says it at the end of Blade Runner.
Blade Runner, yeah.
Rip off. Let's say homage is a nicer way to put it.
Homage.
But I mean,
Clasia.
It's a lovely moment when you see that tear run down her face, but the rain is also hitting her face, and it's like, wait a minute, is she crying or is that? No, she's crying. She can't deal with the ramifications of them being in love, but it is breaking her heart, and she's crying. And she then sends him home. You need to go. And she doesn't say that, but that's in essence what she's saying. And so with some reluctance, he takes off.
Breaks my cold, bitter heart.
Every time.
It's a lovely scene. And again, you got Keith David and Sally Richardson.
Oh!
And Frank Welker as Cagney.
There's so many good lines in this. And I had forgotten how, first of all, just the voice acting and then the writing. And this one, it kicked me a couple of times, and I really like it.
Yeah. I do too. Lydia Morano did a fantastic job with this script.
Mm-hmm. Lydia and Bren and all good, all great. And then Jamie and the cast it's just, really felt good. Really felt like we were firing on all cylinders. And
the whole show is lightning in a bottle, just quite the combo of amazingness.
I still personally, I know people are going to disagree with me, find it unmatched in the realm of American animation to this day. I still do.
I can't. I like watching it again now, and I haven't watched it in years. It holds up so freaking well.
Mm-hmm. I feel that too, and I know I'm biased, but I really feel that way. I mean,
well, there's no one going to say that I'm not biased.
I
ditto, ditto.
But I just to the point where I recommend it to my coworkers' kids, because it's still relevant.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then we get that sequence where Titania tries to draft the Manhattan Clan into helping her out, and I love that Goliath, despite everything, stands up for this guy who, from his perspective, has been his enemy from day 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's an interesting scene. I think it's particularly interesting scene in hindsight to talk about after we've watched the next episode. But on the surface, it's just like, hey, there's going to be trouble. I want you to help make sure that it all goes smoothly because I don't want Fox hurt. And it all sounds very reasonable. But what she's doing is alerting Goliath to something that he otherwise would not have known about and would not have gotten involved at all. And so why does she do that exactly? But yeah, it is great that, there's a lot of talk in this show intentionally about integrity. Obviously in Outfoxed and any episode with Halcyon in it. And the fact that Halcyon's in this episode, even though he's not specifically talking about integrity, Goliath has real integrity. And he's sort of like, look, I found my daughter. I can't imagine the pain of losing a child. And even a son of a bitch like Xanatos doesn't deserve that. So no, I'm not going to help you. And she's like, well, if you won't help me, then you must not interfere, then just stay out of it. And she seems angry. And she disappears. And Goliath is like, well, no, fuck that. We're going to mount up.
Which
guys.
was
we're
honestly
going to
her
war,
plan from the get-go.
Right.
And then we get the force fields as Oberon puts the city to sleep.
I love the shot where Morgan comes in and you see the rain bouncing off of Morgan, but not Oberon.
Yeah. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
That was so well done. So well done. Were you in that car?
Sir, you might have a concussion.
And then even just, it's so easy to take a line like sleep repeated 3 times or 4 and
to be boring.
Make it be corny.
Yeah, right.
No.
But
Terrence, man.
Terrence,
fucking man. That is I'm telling you, that is a hard line to pull off and not make it sound goofy or silly or corny or cliche. But I was watching it last night. I'm like, holy shit. And I know, the line, not the very first iteration of it, but the last few, those are enhanced by our sound people, and I get it. But it's the acting that does it.
Yeah.
There's a very subtle build to the repetition, and it gets bigger and bigger, and you believe, oh yeah, he's putting the whole city to sleep.
Yeah, he sells it.
And that force field is protecting everyone inside the urban. I like that Xanatos actually evacuates the entire skyscraper first.
Yeah. Look, his employees are resources. We don't waste resources. Yeah. So I don't want to put them at risk if I don't have to. So yeah, evacuate the building. I was something I noticed last night that I don't think I've ever noticed before is there were a lot of workers coming out of Xanatos' corporate headquarters wearing hard hats.
They're building something for him.
New York. Everybody wears a hard hat in New York.
So I was like, a lot of corporate hard hat type.
Dude, they go to work. This building falls down on the street all the goddamn time.
I'm like, more hard hats than I would have thought, but all right. But yeah, he's evacuated the building, and then he's throwing trucks at it. He's firing beams off, but energy is energy, as Owen said, and so he can't get through that way. So he's taking a different route.
Yeah. A lot of car crashes. Brendan is okay, and unfortunately, Margot will also be okay. And and it's great. And then he swells up to the size of the skyscraper. Oh, I was thinking about this last time. It's been a few years since I've watched this also, but considering the geography of where this building is, Oberon is a gigantic skyscraper-sized Oberon is standing with Carnegie Hall right behind his boots.
He's on 57th, right?
Yeah. I believe Central Park South would be the rear of the building, and then the front of the building would probably be 57th, and then there would be Carnegie Hall.
Yeah. So, and a piece of the building across the street gets taken out. I think that's the building where Elisa and Goliath landed it back in Awakening Part 2?
3.
3.
Or 3?
Yeah.
No, I'm not sure.
But yeah, I think they were on that rooftop. But yeah, I also just love that little moment where you cut to Lisa's apartment and she and Cagney are asleep on the couch, and you see the TV and Travis Marshall's asleep.
Sleep on it.
I got to ask this. Oberon decreed that Goliath's clan would be immune from his art. So Lisa is part of Goliath's clan. She's not immune. I'm guessing Oberon didn't count her.
No, he didn't. I mean, Goliath would have, but no, Oberon didn't. Views her as a nice adjunct human, but not.
And in that case, I also have to ask, because people are going to wonder, according to the timeline, Demona and Thalag were in Manhattan at this time. Did they go to sleep?
I don't know. I mean, I'd have to think about it, but I think that I don't think Oberon is going to be bothered tasking the nuance of. It's not like he's
doing a head count,
checking a box about the million people plus who live in. And so, I think a couple gargoyles, the odds are he'd just assume they're part of his clan and let them off the hook, just like Goliath and Hudson, etc. But whereas the humans, he takes for granted they're not part of the clan, even though Elisa, certainly is from Goliath's point of view at this point. Or it may be that what Elisa, just from a magical standpoint, it may be that what Elisa just said to Goliath on the balcony in the rain has in essence disqualified her.
I like
and
that.
Thus, if that's the case, and then certainly Thalag doesn't consider himself part of the clan, Demona might still think she
is in charge.
Should be in charge. So Demona could go either way, but Thalag might be asleep. I don't know. I mean, again, it's sort of an interesting question. If I literally had unlimited time and unlimited resources to tell unlimited stories, that's an interesting flashback to sort of get into, and I'd start to think about it more. But the fact is that the odds of me revisiting that little point seems kind of slim. So I haven't dedicated any real time to thinking about it. But it's only now just occurring to me, but I like that idea that the reason Elisa's asleep is because of what she just said to Goliath.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
And I do too. Sure, I've never thought about that.
She took herself out of the clan with that kind of thing. That just makes it more painful. God damn it.
She'll be back in soon enough. But Jen, what do you think of that cliffhanger? This episode ends on an epic cliffhanger.
On the incredible growing Faye. So we've established that this force field is keeping him out. Is being larger going to help him?
I think he thinks if he's powerful enough, he can crush this thing or something.
I mean, it's very much a Clark's Law thing, like any technology significantly advanced is magic, basically. So it's like tech versus magic versus natural magic, and I could not figure out. And I remember this, why being larger was going to help him. So I was very interested to find out
You-
how that played out for him.
That's the thing. Part of him is going for shock and awe. Also, he's
Well,
pissed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's sort of where I see it. It's like, but I
mean,
do
you
also
don't want to
think
look
he
out the window and
thinks-
see that.
I think he thinks I can crush this thing now, and it won't be that easy. But I definitely think shock and awe. They pissed him off. All right, I gave you an hour. You put up your little toys, but now you're pissing me off.
No little tornado this time, guys. I'm going big.
Yeah.
All right. Do we have any final thoughts on this episode? Jen, do you have anything?
It was a good cliffhanger. There's so much going on right now that I'm wondering where everyone's going to land at this point. It was just a good spot to stop and let me think about all the pieces in play right now.
It was for me also, and I remember this specifically. I kind of forgot about Owen at this point, which is going to work to part two's advantage. We'll talk about that then. Greg, do you have any final thoughts on this episode?
Just a few little points that I wanted to highlight. The introduction of Puck's flute, which pays off later. Elisa saying "No place like home." That's definitely me saying I want a Wizard of Oz reference here in the episode. Elisa is Alice in this case.
Dorothy.
Dorothy, yeah, sorry. Dorothy, Alice, Wendy, a lost girl.
All of them. I have a whole story with just the Lost Girls.
Yeah. There's a whole, seeds are planted. Energy's energy. Oberon's vulnerable to iron. Now, we don't see anything about vulnerable to iron in this episode, but we've planted that seed. There's also little moments like...
So what was Xanatos' gun made out of?
I don't know, some
alloy.
Some alloy that didn't have enough iron in it to...
He was firing a particle beam. That wasn't even a bullet. It was a particle beam.
No, but the gun itself, because he takes it from him and melts it down, kind of thing. Evaporates it, whatever he does with it.
Plastic.
Plastic.
But there's these little hints throughout, like when Anastasia takes the baby, before Oberon's shown up, before there's any reveal of who she is, she says, "My little prince." She calls him little prince. And of course, grandparents calling their grandson a little prince. That's not unusual, but it was a little, that I think was probably a Lydia line or a Bryn.
Bryn, yeah.
Then there's fun stuff like, Oberon shows up in the lobby of the Eyrie building and sees the Stan Turnbull, the security guard, and pulls an Obi-Wan Kenobi on him.
I like that he doesn't just repeat back what he said, is being said to him. I like that, though.
I have other things to do.
And it always sort of struck me that okay, before the gathering, Oberon's been, hanging out around planet Earth, and at some point maybe he got curious about why all these people are so excited about a movie. So he went to see Star Wars, and in it he thought he saw Obi-Wan, and he thought, oh, clearly that's a tribute to me. Obi-Wan,
of course,
Oberon, of course it is. And that's kind of fun what he did there. I can do that. That's easy.
Easy trick.
So that's what I like.
Pull a rabbit out of my hat.
And I like that when he gets up to the castle level of the Eyrie building, he looks around and he sees, this medieval castle with all these modern accoutrements, and he's like, a pleasant conceit, He's not thinking about, oh, they took a castle from across the ocean and put. It's like, yeah, I like how they decorated the place. So there, to me, there are a lot of lovely touches. Even the way once Anastasia is revealed as Titania, and this is a boarding thing. I think it's just sort of the way Anastasia tells the story. It's not like on a screen. It's not like we do actual flashbacks where we flash. She creates a tableau, and we get to see young her with young Halcyon before he got sick.
What a stud!
And we got to see her pregnant and them wearing wedding rings, and there was just I just think it's again sort of lovely the thought that went into how do we present this flashback, because we could have just cut to a flashback,
Her
shots of
narrating
it or
as it like is appearing behind her, and
right, the whole background changes and sort of waves, and so there's a lot of, I think, really nice work from the whole Gargoyles crew in this episode, from animators to storyboard artists to design work and everything. So I just wanted to flag some of that stuff because
it's good stuff.
Yeah,
very good stuff. All right. This is coming out on November 14th. Do you have anything you want to promote?
I always do. So, Jen, do you have anything?
I don't have anything.
All right. Well, by this time, you should definitely have Fantastic Four Gargoyles from Marvel Comics and Gargoyles Fantastic Four from Dynamite Comics. You should have at least 4 issues of Gargoyles Demona, and the 5th issue should be coming out in early December, I think.
In theory.
In theory.
And then I just saw Robbie's colors. I haven't seen the lettering yet, but I just saw Robbie's colors on finished colors on the book over Frank's finished inks, and wow.
I await it with bated breath.
It's
Frank is so tired.
Frank is tired. Yeah,
Frank is so tired. He's like, that's the hardest thing I've ever done.
Yeah, he posted that on Facebook.
The design of Blaze Renard from issue 3. I said to Frank, go look at this one design of Healthy Halcyon from this episode. And I said, make Blaze, make him time appropriate for medieval France, but make Blaze look as much like Halcyon when he was
As
young
you
and healthy
can.
as you can. And I think that comes off. But yeah, Frank is very tired, but he's done phenomenal work all the way through the end of issue 5.
It's been a fun.
Beautiful. And Robbie's done incredible work. So well thought out.
I've always loved Robbie's stuff, and like he's really just brought his A game.
Yeah,
always.
And so yeah,
This
you're
really
going to
sets the
want
scene
to
and the
pre-order
tone.
Demona 5. And then we're also working on the winter special for December, so pre-order that. And then coming in January, Gargoyles Darkwing Duck.
Yes.
It's going to be some wacky.
When there's
fun.
trouble, you call DW.
Right.
Let's get dangerous. And I'm going to promote something myself. I'm going to promote the Garg Wiki. The main page has had a recent facelift thanks to one of our users, Phoenician. The main picture, which used to be just Lexington, changes every time you click on the page. We have a This Day in Real World History related to gargoyles now, which changes every day. We've got, as usual, our featured articles, our new releases, and upcoming releases section. It's been around for 19 years now, and
Needed a facelift.
yeah, it needed a facelift. It was getting up in years, so
Shine.
nowhere near as graceful or good looking as you, Jen. But hopefully we've prettied her up.
Me, mommy. Whatever. God. Wheels are falling off the bus over here.
All right, but so as usual, Jen, I want to thank you for everything you do. And Greg, thank you for everything. And to our audience, thank you for listening. And join us next time for The Gathering Part 2. And please don't ask us if Greg's going to reveal what Titania whispered to Fox. Please just don't ask.
We've given up.
We'll have a conversation.
You're smart, you'll give up too.
But we'll definitely talk about it next time.
Thank you for listening to Voices from the Eyrie, a Gargoyles podcast, powered by the Spidey Dude Radio Network, located at spidey-dude.com. If you like this show, then please listen to Spectacular Radio, based on the Spectacular Spider-Man animated series, which features some familiar voices. You can also find these great podcasts: Clone Saga Chronicles, Make Mine Mayday, Amazing Spider-Man Classics, the Sal Buscema Podcast, and Books of X. All of this and more on the Spidey Dude Radio Network. And please follow us on Twitter at From Eyrie. That's From EYRIE. And join us on Patreon at patreon.com/SpideyDude Network for more exclusive content. Thank you.
We're not the last. We're not alone.